Okay, good morning again. This is Rabbi Shlomo First here in Tsama Nafshi in Yerushalyim HaKodesh. We're learning now Mishna Berura, Hilchos Tisha B'Av, Tov Kuf Nun Tes Siv Zayin, which we started yesterday, and we'll be continuing once again to start off again with the Macaber, and then we'll go on to the Mishna Berura. Amar, not going to read this a bit today?
If there is a child that needs Brit Milah, Malilato, we circumcise him after we finish the kingdoms. Some people wait until after Chatzot. We say the bracha on the Milah, below B'sam, grab B'sam.
And as the Mishnah explained, that means that we make the brachas on Milah, meaning with the kois shel yain.
Right.
We give the kois to the child if he's available, right? And we don't take the b'samim instead of the kois. And also, even then, if I imagine if we had the minhag that you do usually take the b'samim, you don't take it, as the Mishnah explained, because we want to try and reduce the amount of pleasure we have on the day of Tisha B'Av, because it's a day of mourning, and we're supposed to be distressed.
The minhag is like the first to do it after Kinos.
Right.
And if the mother is at the place of the Milah, Yevarach ala kos, make a bracha on the kos, we teach them.
I'm sorry, if the mother what?
The mother is in the same room as you're having the bris milah.
Meaning she's there on the premises where the bris milah is. Well, I tell you, I mean, it was not so common that women would be at the at the bris milah. I mean, I know a very chashuv rebbetzin of Shalom, and I forgot how many she had. At least a handful and a half of children. And she said she never went to any of her son's brisses because first of all they weren't up to it.
It wasn't common.
Yeah, and it wasn't common to the women would go.
In America, the woman's always there.
That's America. That's a new generation, my friend. Not the old generation.
What about in Israel?
It depends.
The ones I've been to in Israel, the woman has been there.
Depends which part of Israel you're from.
Yerushalyim.
I didn't mean that. Sect, dynasty, and even from the older generations, the newer generations are starting.
No, you should realize a lot of, and this rebbetzin happened to tell me the reason she did not go was because of Ayin Hara. She was worried about Ayin Hara.
Why?
Because sometimes there are women there that are jealous of a woman having a child. That maybe they're not so fortunate that.
Oh, they'll feel bad when
that's right,
because they can't have a child.
That's right, and not so fortunate. So, for whatever reason, that what I remember Mishna telling us that was the main reason.
It's very sensitive.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's a very sensitive thing.
The minhag is very short. The minhag is like the first thing. The ima yoledes mishyam kamila yivarach ala kos v'tishta imena yoledes, and the pregnant should drink. The hu shetishma bracha. V'lo tafsik b'varim b'shmal habracha l'shtiat hakos. In the situation she didn't speak between the bracha and the tasting of the cup.
Right, meaning that if it's such a situation that the yoledis is there, that the mother of the child is there, she should be informed that, lady, by the way, you're going to be drinking from the kais, right? And you should pay attention to listening to the bracha, and you shouldn't be speaking, right? Because there's time period between the bracha ala kais, there's kriyas hashem,
right.
There's a lot of things said. It's not just simply break your guffin and then you give the kais to be drunken from, right? There's a time lapse. So many people come up to say Mazel Tov, there's a lot of chatter sometimes on the women's side, right? Oh, the name, that's the Zaidi, that's, that's the Saba, so thank you, gives a kiss on the cheek or something like that. So, maybe the sister, the aunt is so happy that, her brother is being remembered by the name. So it could be very possible that she might come to talk between the bracha and the drinking, which would be very problematic, what she should do in such a case like that.
I've never seen the woman, the mother, drink.
Because it's usually not usually on Tisha B'Av. This is on Tisha B'Av.
Oh, this is only on Tisha B'Av.
Tisha B'Av. Right, because everyone's fasting. She, the woman,
you falling asleep?
Fasting because she just gave birth.
Right, she's 8 days after the birth, so she's permitted to eat. She's actually, I think, It might even be forbidden to fast.
3?
3 is
No,
forbidden
3
to fast.
forbidden, 3 to 8 depends.
Depends on her matzah,
On her
on the
matzah.
situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, but very, I imagine most of them probably.
Like this. I want to believe it. Okay, ve'imei nashama, she's not there. Yivarach alakos ve'yat im latinoko. And if the mother's not there, make the brach on the kos and you let a child taste it.
Right.
Now, that's interesting, he uses the word tinokot,
Right.
because I thought tinokot was like a toddler.
It can be. It's usually young children. See, the point is like this. We'll get to it later when we discuss the halacha of Havdalah. Meaning, even Havdalah, L'tchachila, if there's a child there, when you make Havdalah on Moitzi Shabbos Chazorim, at the beginning of the week, the Shabbat is going to fall out in, you're not supposed to drink the yain or the grape juice from the Havdalah. You're supposed to give it to a child. But it's a very small window of availability for what kind of a child you can give it to. They have to be old enough to understand what Havdalah is all about. At the same time, they can't be old enough to understand what the Avelis of Tisha B'Av is all about. Once they reach the age of Chinuch, you have to treat them as an adult in terms of their training, that they shouldn't be doing all kinds of things during the 9 days or Shudu Shul Kalboy. We'll be getting to these halachas. So that's one of those things, is not to give them grape juice or wine. Right, so it's a very small, and especially when the children are learning about all kinds of things. Even now, the 3-year-olds and the 4-year-olds and the gans and the little nurseries that are being taught about the Korban, things like how much they really understand and relate to. That's another question. But they're certainly having these ideas about these things, right? Where in previous generations, where the education formally didn't begin till maybe later on, right? They didn't have, they weren't exposed to these kind of concepts and ideas. So it's usually younger children, usually 4, 5, 6, maybe 7. So that could all usually, but you're right. Tinok is usually an infant or a toddler.
Yeah.
Right. We'll see. Let's see the Mishnah. Let's begin with Sifkatim Chaf Tes.
Ayolad.
So
that means just Ayin Sham to Tat Tav Kuf Nun Dalet Sif. Well, to explain more.
Oh, so that might be worthwhile as jumping over there. I'll tell you, let's finish up the Mishnah Berura here, and then maybe we'll jump over there.
Okay. Latinoka, this young child. You don't have to worry that he's going to become an alcoholic. Because it doesn't happen every day.
Oh, so the question he's dealing with is, how can you give a child something which is really forbidden? Because the whole idea that you're not supposed to give things to children that are forbidden, because you're worried they'll get used to doing these things when they get older. When they're bar mitzvah, they'll get used to doing these things, right? So we don't have to worry about this, because it only happens, to have a bris on Tisha B'Av, it's not a regular thing. It might happen once every
10 years.
Yeah, I remember
But then he
once.
won't be a child anymore.
And he won't be the same one getting it, right? It's not like you're giving it to him every week.
Right.
People make a big mistake on Shabbos, that they think that the child's young, they can have the child turn on a light or turn off a fan or turn on a fan, right? And it's not true. They think, well, the child's not a bardas, but there's a Mishnah Berura in Hilchos Shabbos that a person is mitzuva on his son, right? He's obligated to see that his son is Shomer Shabbos, is resting on Shabbos, just like his shur is obligated to keep Shabbos. He's obligated to make sure his shur, his ox, his dog, his cat, whatever animals he may have under his jurisdiction, they are obligated, the person, to see that they keep Shabbos. But he can't hitch his ox onto a water mill and have it run the water mill on Shabbos. He'll just hitch it up and it'll do its own thing. It will walk around and around and around like it does on the week. He did it on Erev Shabbos, and he's doing it on his own. No, he's obligated to stop and see that his animals are not doing work for him on Shabbos. Likewise, the son, even though he has no das, even though he's maybe the youngest type of a child, a year or 2 or 3 years old, has no idea of what's the connection between the switch on the wall and the lights going on, or pulling the string and the fan going on, right? So you see, What's wrong with that? He says, just like if you had a monkey, you couldn't train a monkey to turn on the fan for you or turn on the lights for you, because you're obligated in what we call shvis behemtoi. The Shabbos observant of your animals, you're obligated in. That's what we say in the Kiddush. We say that some say the longer version of the Kiddush Rabbah in the morning Kiddush. So we say the psukim which indicate this. We say just as I'll read it to you. 1 second, I'll get to the spot. Yeah. Get to the spot. Right. Zohar es Yom HaShabbos Lakadsho. You should remember the Sabbath day to make it holy. Sheshes Yomim Tavoi V'Asisa Kol Malaktecha. 6 days you should work and do all your work. Yom HaShvi Shabbos LaHashem Elokecha. The 7th day is a Sabbath day to Hashem, your God. Lo Sasach Ho Malacha. You shall not do any malacha. Ata, you, Uvincha, and your son. You and your son shall not do work. Right? Bitcha and your daughter. Abdecha, your servant. Amascha, your maidservant. Ubehemtecha, and your animal as well. Begercha, even the ger, the convert, Asher B'Sharecha, which is living with you in your gates. Right? Whether they know, whether they don't know. Just like the animal has no, and cannot fathom that today is a Sabbath day. Even your son, who's so young he doesn't know, you're obligated to make sure he keeps the Shabbos.
So what's with the Shabbos Goy?
Shabbos Goy, there are certain ways you can have him do work for you, depending what it is. It all depends what it is, right? And you can't. There are very complicated rules on how it works. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're probably going to be violating the Shabbos in one small or greater way, without any doubt. And people think they're just going to have him do anything they dream up of doing it, they're probably going to be in big trouble. So you have to be very knowledgeable and very careful on what and how you do things with it. Okay. Yeah.
So I have grandchildren who come over on Shabbos and they play, and one of them climbs up on the couch and turns the light on.
No, you're in darkness.
Do I? Pardon?
No, you're in darkness.
What?
Now you're in darkness.
So he turned it on.
Oh, turn it on. No, see, I like Baruch Hashem. I hear.
So, what's my obligation? Do I need to make sure he doesn't turn it off?
Okay.
Can I allow him to turn it off? I know I can't tell him to.
No, you can't tell you.
Is it going to bother you if it's on?
Yeah, I didn't turn it on because I didn't want it on.
Okay.
Unless he turns it on in the bedroom. He goes to the bedroom and turns the light on in the bedroom.
The light's going to go through we have a glass door, which we put up a partition, but the partition is translucent. So the light will radiate into the room and it'll annoy the guest.
Sure. So look, you can't, if he's going to on his own go ahead and turn it off, since what we call it's nichale, it's benefiting you, you may be required to stop it because you're benefiting from it. But since obviously you didn't ask him to do it, he doesn't understand. He wouldn't. You may be a question as to whether I could check and see if you're obligated to stop it.
So much every week.
So get a cover.
Every time they come over.
Why don't you get a cover? They sell covers for the suits.
It's very nice. They have very nice light covers.
I used to
That's
do
a
that.
good idea. I should probably
I used to walk
So
around.
so
So
much.
That happens often.
I would turn around. I'm usually turning off a bathroom.
Yeah, I cover all the
Put a cover on.
almost all the switches on the house.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea.
There's some you don't have. They slip in.
Where do you buy the covers?
Sometimes they sell them over here. If you go to almost any Judaic shop, they have them.
Even hardware store. Tambour's.
Yeah, that's right.
Tambour's actually.
If you want to know the best place, they're all the same. You're not gonna. You can spend 30 shekels for each one. You can spend 7.5 shekels for each one. It's the same thing coming from the same place in China, guaranteed. No doubt about it.
It's two pieces. You glue it on and they clip it on every area.
There's some you don't even have to glue. It just slips in behind You have the
Switch? I
yeah.
didn't see those.
You have this. Sometimes you might have to loosen it a little bit, and it
Uh-huh.
has two pieces. It has a piece that's this way, and it goes in here and it sticks out and above a little bit, and then the other piece has a slot on the top side, a perpendicular slot on the top, and you just slip it.
Well, it's the same thing. You put it in. I take
You
it.
glue it. You can glue it. Yeah, no, right, either way, right, same thing.
Then I don't have to
Because
go.
somebody can take the sticky
I
stuff.
don't have to go to university if I have to open that up. Right?
Yeah. The electrician's license. But there's a place right up here in the, it's called Imperial Castle. I don't know if you don't know. It's a
You should
tremendous
go
store.
there.
It's a tremendous store.
Yes, you should go
They
there.
carry all kinds of housewares.
And everything else that you need
Yeah.
that you don't want to spend money on.
Yeah,
And cheap.
Imperium.
Imperial Castle.
It's true, no?
I read you
To
drive
get
up
you to
this-
spend.
This is a one-way street.
Yeah.
You'll go up a one-way street. There's a circle at the end of the street.
Right,
You follow the circle out to the left side, right?
left side,
Probably
okay.
goes-
That's usually the way I go.
And then it's a minute down the road on the.
Oh, it's on that
On
street.
the right
On that
side, yeah,
street.
on that street.
On the right side.
Yeah, you ask anybody in Berura because it's a pretty big store. All kinds of housewares at reasonable prices. It's not the top of the line, but if you're not interested in top of the line, well, you're not going to pay for the top of the line. And you'll get almost anything you need.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Good to know. Good to know.
Okay.
Okay, so-
Sorry for that
That's all right.
digression. Okay, but so therefore, you give it to the child, right? And you're not worried about him getting involved with this when he gets older, because the fact that a bris milah is going to come up every once in a while, and most likely he's not going to be the next child in line after the next bris comes along, and he's going to get the wine so many times he'll remember to do it when he's older. Okay.
Afal Gab de Gabe Havdalah.
We're in the fourth line in the wide lines there. Yeah, 4 lines in, 4 words in, the fourth line down.
Afal Gab de Gabe Havdalah.
Oh.
Keshechal Tisha B'Av B'Motzei Shabbos Chashinan ve'en not letiknokot. Even though that when the Motzei Shabbos of the Tisha B'Av of the week of Hadon,
That's this year, by the way.
this year there's a
Meaning even because why? Because we'll see if we get into it, because there'll be certain people that are not going to be fasting. So those people, they're going to have a chiyuv havdal. This is going to be a very complicated halakha. We'll have to deal with this. Tisha B'Av is Motzei Shabbos this year, right?
Right, yeah.
Right. So that's what we just said, right?
No,
But it's
Gabi
not.
Havdalah Kishachal Tisha B'Av Motzei Shabbos.
Yeah, but this Motzei Shabbos we don't have that.
But kids are going to be eating.
I was thinking this is talking about the Shabbos Chazon.
No, that's not that you can give to the kid. That you can give because it's not
If
a
it's
kind.
Motzei
It's
Shabbos,
just
there's no Magdola Motzei
Shabbos.
Shabbos.
What?
It's a docha. There's no Magdola Motzei Shabbos, and Sunday it's a docha. You can drink it.
But let's say you happen to have a woman or someone who's not fasting. Let's say you have children who are not
Uh-huh.
fasting. Do they have to
Make
make a?
Havdalah.
You're forbidden to eat until you
Make
make
Havdalah.
Havdalah. Right?
Tisha B'Av Motzei Shachashinan.
We'll get to it. Let's finish
We're
this.
not
Mishnah.
giving it to the. We don't give it to the children.
Right.
Then we get Tef Kuf Menvav. Hainu Mishum Delfi Kiviu Tashanim Shalanu Al Kocha Yabo Lifamim Lesof Shalosh or Arba Shanim. It will come because of our calendar. It will come every 3-4 years. One time, once every 3-4 years to be Motzei Shabbos. The Chashiv Davar can want to be something like a regular thing. Mash Enkem Amila. It will be something like a Havdalah happens very frequently according to him, every 3-4 years on a Motzei Shabbos. But bris milah doesn't happen like that necessarily. That's what he's trying to say. That's why bris milah it's okay to give a child to drink, but Havdalah no. Ma she'en came b'milah she'en la kavua klav lo chashin nuzan, because milah doesn't always happen, so we're not worried about it.
Okay.
So this year it's pushed off, right?
Right,
It's
yes.
actually on Shabbos.
Yes.
Yes.
So the laws of fasting are more lenient.
In certain respects, yes.
But not for you and me.
Well, for me, because I have diabetes.
Oh, then for you.
So that's very relevant. Sure. Should have a full shleim before Tisha B'Av comes.
Amen.
Amen.
Unfortunately, it's not likely.
Take a look at Tuf. Now that we came to it, take a look at Tuf Kuf Nun Vav. Go back to page Lamed Gimel Lamed Beis. Have it there, Mataziyam?
Tisha B'Av Shechal B'Yom Rishon.
Would you like to read it?
No,
Please,
go ahead,
I
I'm
have some
listening.
potatoes. I have some potatoes.
You already had.
No, I had bread. I didn't have potatoes. I had
No.
potatoes. Read.
Okay, Tav Kuf Nun Vav.
Nun Vav?
Yeah, well, you can read it if you want. Tav Kuf Nun Vav. It's going back a few pages.
Nun. Tav Kuf Nun. I'm on Zion.
Okay.
Nun Vav.
One second.
Dollar.
Here you are. 1 second. Nope. One page.
A.
Here you are.
I was there. Tav Kuf Nun Vav. Here. Layout.
That's right.
ליל תשעה באב שחל באחד בשבת. The evening of Tisha B'Av, that's one
That
Sabbath.
occurs. Shechal, that occurs the Echad B'Shabbos. We don't refer to the days of the week by names, right? We refer to the days of the week by numbers. Echad B'Shabbos is the first day of Shabbos, the first day of the week. Shabbos is another expression of week. So Yom Rishon, we can say Yom Rishon, but a better way to say it, because when you say Echad B'Shabbos, you know what you're doing. You're trying the mitzvah deraisa. Zachar Shabbos Laharsha. You're remembering the Shabbos day. You can remember that there are many that actually. I recently saw there were a listing of about 6 different ways a person can remember the Sabbath day, and this is the Raisa, right? One is by doing this when he's counting the days of the week, and we say that by the Shir Yom Yom Day Shlishi B'Shabbos. So he's saying it's the 3rd day of the Shabbos, the 3rd day of the week of the Sabbath. That's a way of remembering the Deraisa, if you that remembering the Sabbath day, keeping it holy. Another way is when you learn Hilchos Shabbos. Learn Hilchos Shabbos. Another way is when you do something on the week, right? When you do something in the week that is forbidden on Shabbos, you remind yourself this is something which is forbidden on Shabbos. Right? If you take a grinder and you grind coffee, you say this is something which is also forbidden to do on Shabbos. That's the way you can fulfill the
I do
Deraisa.
that every day.
There you go.
With the light in the bathroom.
Huh?
When I turn the light in the bathroom, I always say, okay, if it was Shabbos, I wouldn't be doing this.
Okay.
To remind myself.
Good. Very good.
I didn't realize it was
But you'll be
doing
getting
this.
those shields, and you won't have to.
And then I'll lose the mitzvah.
So you think of something else.
Okay, so when the evening of Tisha B'Av falls on Sunday,
Yeah.
Kishiro'eh naher,
Haner, when you see the candle,
you see the candle, Omer, Borei Morei Ha'esh, and you say Borei Morei Ha'esh.
right? So you're going to be making the bracha and Berura. Now you should know. Mishna will see in a moment, maybe if there's time. I'm not sure when we get today. That the bracha, we make 4 brachas of Havdalah. One on wine, one on besamim, the fragrant spices, and we make it on the nair, the candle, and we make it on the what we call Havdalah. All these 4 things are going from the most materialistic to the more spiritual. You have the bracha on the wine. That's our sense of taste. It's something which is physical. The wine is physical. You go to the sense of smell, it's less physical. You go to the sense of sight, right, which is, there's even a question in the physicists are still wondering if it's a wave or it's a particle. They're still wondering about that.
Oh yeah.
They haven't figured it out yet.
No.
They probably won't.
You probably will never figure it out.
And then you have Havdalah, which is complete, that's thought, that's all the way in the spiritual realm. That's completely removed from the physical world already, that's thought. So, the reason we make Havdalah, the bracha on the air, is that's a commemoration of the fact that Adam Rishon discovered fire on Motzi Shabbos. Again, Adam Rishon was created on Erev Shabbos, he had Shabbos, then Motzi Shabbos, right? He was already out of Gan Eden. He had left Gan Eden in order to even before Shabbos, but it was now dark. Motzei Shabbos was now dark, so he was given the ability to create with flintstones to create sparks and create fire. So Hashem gave him the ability to create fire, so we commemorate that fact when we make Havdalah on Motzei Shabbos. So it's only an opportunity to make the bracha on the Ner on Motzei Shabbos. So therefore we, on Motzei Shabbos, which is Tisha B'Av, which the Havdalah is going to take place in most cases, except we're talking about children or ill people or something like that, the Havdalah is going to take place on Motzei Tisha B'Av, the night after the fast, right? We will lose the opportunity to make the bracha on the candle, on the Ner. So we must say that on Motzei Shabbos like we always do, right? Mm-hmm. So that'll be usually, you'll probably do that. You might do that in shul, they'll have it in shul, but the question is, what are the women going to do? Right? What?
Do it at home.
They can do it at home. The question is whether women make it on, but that's another story. Or depending what
but you lose the Samim on this one, right?
Missouri's that. You don't got it. You don't got it.
No. You have it. You don't use it.
We can't use it, right? Because that's going to be connected to the fact. Remember, we said we just learned about Bris Milah. We don't take the Besamim, right? So why we could, in theory, take it, right? Maybe the Mishna was going to talk about it. I didn't really prepare this, but let's see. We'll go
So
a
I
couple
understand
more.
what you just said about the
Besamim. See, are we going to see? Let's see the Mishna. What does it say about Besamim? Right? Ein mevorach al besamim. You're not to make a bracha on besamim. Right? You make a bracha when you see the Ner on Motzei Shabbos, which is Tisha B'Av, and you're not to make a bracha on besamim. Probably for the same reason.
Well, this one is saying it afterwards. This is saying Motzei Tisha B'Av.
No. This is
it's Erev.
V'leil Tisha B'Av shechal be'erka b'tar.
That's right. Look, V'leil Motzei Tisha B'Av mavdil alakos v'ena mevarach lo al Ner al besamim.
Right.
So that's on Sunday night.
Yeah, the second part. Yeah,
but
but
the other one you say, what?
We didn't read that yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
it's okay.
I thought you finished.
We just ended on
On the Motzei Shabbos, you don't make the bracha on besamim. Probably for the same reason why you don't do it by the Bris Milah. Because you're not supposed to have extra pleasure on Tisha B'Av.
So what happens in the Shamei Sarah?
The whole thing. Look, it's what's the whole reason we make the Samim on Motzei Shabbos? We want to be refresh ourselves over the loss of the Samim Sheira, right?
Because we're depressed.
Right, but in Tisha B'Av you're going to be depressed anyway. Right?
Oh, I see.
There's no mitzvah to be happy on Tisha B'Av.
Depressed.
So might as well. What?
Must be said not depressed.
So take a pill.
Take a pill.
One time I was in America. I was driving a car. They had this advertisement. You're down today. Get up out of the dumps. Go to your doctor and get the prescription for this thing that we're selling. This thing will kill you.
Right.
Take it up or whatever. They're all on pills. The doctor's on pills. Everyone's on pills. So.
They take 9 pills every day.
Whoa, that's a lot.
No, but you should know, you should know if you're learning Torah, you're doing mitzvahs, you're feeling the ratzon of HaKodesh Baruch Hu, there's nothing to be depressed about. Nothing to be depressed about.
Even the fact that you take so many pills. Okay, so you don't do Besamim on Motzei Shabbos.
Right.
U'Belel Motzei Tisha B'Av, but on the next day, Sunday night this year, Mavdil Bein Hakos. Mavdil.
You make up Havdalah on a cup of wine, right?
Ve'eno Mevarech Lo Al HaNer, and you. What is this? Eno Mevarech Lo. What's Eno Lo? It's a double negative.
No, you don't make a bracha. So then he's saying the two
it's a double
things.
right? It's like you don't make a bracha neither
On
the Ner,
nor on the Ner,
nor
Velo Al
Besamim.
HaBesamim. Now, why is that? You would think you would say it then because Tisha B'Av is over.
Yeah, but he lost the time. You only say these things on Motzi Shabbos.
Well, because you don't have the Neshama and the Seder.
That's already left, and then there you already made before, and you wouldn't be, if you missed it for some reason, you wouldn't be able to make it.
If you miss Abdullah, you also in the daytime you don't make these two brachas.
I believe not. I
That's
believe
right.
not.
So that's why.
But if you're fasting, then you didn't say Havdalah. Well, you did anyway.
Well,
No.
again, you're gonna. We'll see. We'll get to all the halachas. We'll see the halachas exactly what we'll be doing. In Tefillah on Motzi Shabbos, we'll be saying Havdalah because you have to do malacha, right?
Right.
You're gonna drive your car to shul, right? You're gonna turn on lights and all kinds of things. Right? So you do mandal and tefillah. But if a person forgets what should he do then, that's a whole other story. Right? But okay, we'll continue with this tomorrow, Mr. Shem.